Hey, what's happening everyone? SirJames coming at you guys with another video. In today's video, I'm here to provide you guys with my review for Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition. Now, Bulletstorm originally came out back in 2011. It was a title which I didn't have the opportunity to play, but now that I do, I'm glad I did. Now, pretty much kind of give an idea of what Bulletstorm is like, or in terms of the storyline, is that you are going to be in the boots of a character known as Grayson Hunt, who, after crash landing on an abandoned resort planet, will be forced to make a hard choice between survival and revenge. He's an exiled member of an elite assassins group known as Dead Echo, and Grayson's blind desire for vengeance find him and his crew stranded on his hostile planet, in which then he'll have choices to make in terms of either getting revenge or getting his team off the planet. Now, going over the game's visuals, graphically, the game is actually very nice looking. I like the fact that the characters are nicely detailed, some of the cybernetic characters, even the main character who kind of resembles Wolverine in a way, the way he sounds and of course looks. On top of that, I like the fact that you also have different areas and situations which you'll be involved in. So in this case, you're not going to be fighting in the same situation. So in this case, you're going to be in outer space. You're going to be in the desert-looking hostile planet. Next thing you know, you're in the forest. You're in a cave. So you have all these different areas, all these different landscapes and whatnot that you're going to be part of. And every single moment of it was visually pleasing to the point where I had a really good experience from start to finish. But again, the visualizations of the game is actually quite nice, and like I said, I just can't get the visualization of Wolverine out of my head when it comes to the main character, because the way he acts, sounds, and a bit of looks as well. Next up, let me go ahead and talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is pretty much a straightforward run and gun style game. However, there's actually little mechanics here and there that even make it more enjoyable, besides the humor from the characters, is the fact that you have this pretty cool gadget called a leash, and this doesn't work for all enemies. Like, for example, heavily armored enemies and some of the smaller enemies that are fast will be too quick for it. But when you do happen to use it on an enemy, you could take full advantage of this leash. Like, for example, you could pull the enemy towards you, which in this case the enemy will become in slow motion. From there, you can gun them down while they're still in the slow motion phase. You could kick them and watch their bodies fly across the map. And of course, one of the other fun mechanics here is the fact that there's a lot of environmental hazards going on. So if there happen to be spikes, just wires or metal sharps just kind of sticking out of the ground, electrical wires, the edge of a cliff, whatever the case may be, you could kind of throw enemies into that, and therefore it's more of an instant death. Or of course, best of all, if you happen to slow them down, you can basically kick them about 3 or 4 times and watch their bodies just basically break apart. So it's pretty much a bloody mess, but again, the gameplay and the gun mechanics that this game involves is actually a ton of fun. You do start off the game a little bit slow because you're not going to have everything to your disposal. I mean, you'll quickly get the leash and you're going to have like one basic weapon, but the more and more you progress, you're going to have access to a ton of different weapons. And what's nice is that at a certain point of the game, you're actually going to start earning points and whatnot, which in this case, they're going to be these catches that you can go to. You can turn in those points, and from there you could actually upgrade your weapons. You could buy additional ammo. You could basically upgrade the clips in terms of how much ammo you can carry. Use some of the special abilities of set weapons. And of course, along your way as well, there'll be other additional items you can pick up and use temporarily, like big, heavy LMGs and whatnot. So overall, the gun mechanics here is actually very fun, straightforward. You got to kind of keep in mind that, again, certain enemies have certain weaknesses, while other ones are kind of a little bit vulnerable or have many different weaknesses. So the main thing here is to pay attention to your environment, kill enemies in a bunch of variety of different ways, whatever fits your personal needs, and from there rank up points, upgrade weapons, and to continue along your way until you reach the end of the game. Very simple as that, but again, very fun and addictive. Now, going over the sound aspect of this title, I didn't really have any main issues, just one slight one, but before I get to that, overall, the characters sounded really good for all the characters involved, including, of course, Duke Nukem, which does make an appearance in the game. Of course, on top of that, you also have the game's soundtrack was actually decent and pleasant to listen to. The only issue that I saw here with the sound aspect is that the lip syncing at times can be a bit off. I've heard some people say that the lip syncing, especially when it comes to the Duke Nukem section, was done on purpose. However, I don't know the initial outcome or the full story beyond that. But again, the sound aspect's pretty good. Just kind of notice that there's going to be some lip syncing issues here and there, which again is not that big of a deal. But again, just kind of keep that in mind. Now, going with the game's initial lifespan, if I had to go between low or high in terms of the replay value, I would say it's more or less in terms of the medium area. One, you do have the single player aspect, and depending on the difficulty level you have, you're either going to have a really short experience or a semi-long experience. For example, playing the game on the smallest difficulty level is going to make the game super easy, so you're looking at about 5 or 6 hours for the main storyline. However, if you bump up the difficulty level and play it through that way, you're probably looking just a little bit over 10 hours. On top of that, the game also has online multiplayer, cooperative, and of course a survival mode, which of course will enable some more extra lifespans in regards to that area. But again, the replay value isn't super high, nor is it super low. It's kind of in the middle. But again, it's kind of one of those games that you could easily come back into, have some fun, and just kind of have a little bit of a good laugh, and then kind of go beyond your day, whatever it is that you want to do. But overall, I've had a really good time playing the game. Like I said, I never got to play it when it first came out back in 2011, and seeing it now, I'm actually kind of I'm glad that I actually got the opportunity to finally play a game like this, because I feel like this is probably one of those games that was under the radar that not a lot of people look into, which hopefully they do this time around. But again, it's easily a recommendation if you like first-person shooters. If not, then this might be a pass for you. But in the end, I'm going to give Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition an 8 out of 10. Again, had a great time. There's some little areas here and there that I'd like to see improvement. Not a lot of replay value, but again, it's just a fun game to check out, and hopefully, in this case, I would like to see a sequel. But until then, I am SirJames from Gamerfuzion.com, where we empower your gaming.